Greetings, everybody. This is the Doctor. Welcome back to the fourth part of our guide on careers in Star Trek Online. This is the tactical career. Before we begin, just a little bit of information here. Out of all of the careers in Star Trek Online, I probably have the least amount of knowledge and experience as a tactical officer. I concentrated more on science and engineering in my 5-year tenure of Star Trek Online. However, I have leveled several tactical officers over those years, so I do have some experience, but as far as knowledge goes, as far as some of the buffs and debuffs and things you can get with tactical officers, there is some information there I don't have, especially since customizable kits have been out. There are new tactical powers available that I just really have not experimented yet or tried out. But what I can do is show you my build. I can show you my experiences with a tactical officer. We can go over what's available. Obviously, the innate tactical abilities in a tactical character are going to be important and that sort of thing. So, as we begin, this is the War Doctor. He is the third character I ever created in Star Trek Online. He is the Doctor that existed during the Time War. And before they released or revealed who that Doctor actually was, I just called it the Valiant Doctor. But now we actually know who that Doctor was, played by John Hurt. And he is the War Doctor. So I have tried to make my character look as close to that as possible. Okay, so let's do the same format we did in the last two videos. We're going to go look at trainable tactical powers. Basically, the format is just the same. There are tier 1, 2, and 3 versions of powers. You can get them from the exchange. You can have someone train you up in them. You can get, of course, mission reward, bridge officers, that sort of thing. So we will start with tactical space. Now, flying a tactical character, or flying ships with a tactical character, can be quite fun. Tactical powers are pretty much a given on any starship. Even a science starship, you want some kind of tactical power, because you're either using beams or cannons. You either want, a fire at will or a beam overload or some kind of tactical power. So tactical space powers are important for pretty much every character. Alright, beam fire at will. Beam fire at will improves your next beam array attack. The bridge officer fires your beam weapons at multiple targets of their choices. This one, fire at will, or FAW as it is often abbreviated, is a very useful ability if you are flying a beam ship, a ship that has a lot of beams like a cruiser or a science vessel. Beam fire at will literally fire on multiple targets at a time. This is a very, very useful and very much used ability in the game. Very common. You will find this on beam builds. Of course, you want to go for beam fire at will 3 if you are using beam fire at will. It's going to give you the best options. Obviously, you would need a commander tactical station in order to do beam fire at will 3. No, I take that back. I think beam fire at will 3 will actually work on a lieutenant commander. Yes, lieutenant commander if I'm correct. So you don't need a commander tactical station to use beam fire at will 3. You can have beam fire at will 3 on a lieutenant commander tactical position on, let's say, an engineer with a cruiser or something like that. So this is a useful ability. It will take out multiple targets, or not take them out, but it'll do a lot of damage to multiple targets, and very useful ability anyway. Beam Overload 1. Now, Beam Overload did not used to do critical hits. Well, I mean, it would do critical hits, but not all the time. Now they have improved Beam Overload so that it always crits. So what this does is it overloads your beam weapons to deliver an extremely powerful blast, and it will always critically hit when it does that extreme blast. So it's basically just doing more damage with your beam weapons, and then it will also give you a critical hit. Guaranteed. So beam overload, also now a good thing to have on a beam ship. Now, You also have these abilities available to you. You can put on any ship, of course, any bridge officer you want, but you can target specific subsystems of the enemy. Just like a science ship has that innate subsystem targeting, well, you can do that here with these abilities, except it relies on beam weapons to do them. That means your ship has to be firing beam weapons, but then you could target auxiliary and take out the foe's auxiliary system, or you could target engines or shields or weapons. So these you could put on any bridge officer to help, if you have a beam ship, to help you do that sort of thing. Tactical Team. This is a useful ability pretty much on any starship, any career. Tactical Team deploys a security crew and grants a tactical buff for your own ship or an ally, along with automated shield strength distribution to shields under attack. It also removes crew and tactical debuffs for the duration. So this is just like Engineering Team and Science Team. Well, this is the tactical version of that. Tactical Team. This removes tactical debuffs, so again, important for that. But what's really important with this is that automated shield strength distribution. Basically, as the enemy fires on you, when you turn this on, the shield facing that's taking damage will start basically redistributing the shield strength to that shield facing, so you don't have to do it manually, because down there on your hotbar there's that option to distribute your shield strength on your ship. Like you may want to click the fore or the aft or the the different sides of whatever you're taking damage on. Well, with this active you don't have to do that, it's automatic. So you turn this on and then it's just automatic. Whatever facing is taking damage will automatically distribute power to that side. So that's a very useful feature. It's kind of like reverse shield polarity, but only on one side facing at a time, not all facings. Torpedo High Yield. This basically enhances your torpedoes. High Yield Torpedo improves your next torpedo attack. Photon, Quantum, Transphasic, and Chronoton torpedo launchers fire a salvo of torpedoes. Plasma launchers fire a single slow-moving and destructible heavy torpedo. Tricobalt are upgraded to subspace weapons that can tear a rift in space at the point of detonation, disabling enemies caught in the blast. So this basically enhances your torpedo, and like for that plasma torpedo, makes it a really, really high yield torpedo, but it's slow moving, but it does a lot of damage. Same for the other ones. It basically will give you a salvo of torpedoes. So like you've seen, a good way to think about this is from the movie First Contact, when the Enterprise fires on the Borg sphere that is above Earth after they've gone into the past, and the sphere is above Earth, and they fire on it, and it launches like 4 quantum torpedoes at the sphere. Bang, 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 bang. That is basically torpedo high yield. That if we had a quantum torpedo on our ship and we fired high yield, that's what it would do. 4 quantum torpedoes and a salvo in a line would come out of the ship and attack the enemy. So that's how you can think of high yield. Now, torpedo spread, it's a little different. It spreads the torpedoes out. So spread improves your next torpedo attack. It launches multiple projectiles in a spread pattern that damages all targets in a large area. So think of this as an AoE effect, an area of effect. It is a torpedo projectiles, but in a large area. So if you have a lot of ships around you, you hit this and you'll do torpedo damage to a lot of ships. Obviously, you can put this on any ship, a cruiser, a science ship, whatever, any of these. Very useful. Okay, now we come to what makes tactical ships or escorts very useful, and that's attack patterns. Attack patterns are things you want to use as a tactical character. Attack pattern beta grants an enhancement to the owner's weapons that marks targets. Any target that attacks will have its damage resistance and stealth debuffed. The duration of the debuff is short. So a lot of the powers associated with tactical officers have to deal with debuffs or debuffing the enemy or buffing yourself, but a lot of them deal with debuffing the enemy. Attack pattern Delta. This is maneuvers. Attack pattern Delta targets targets can be used on yourself or ally. The target of attack pattern Delta receives a damage resistance buff. Any ship that attacks the target will receive a damage resistance and stealth debuff. Then of course there's Fire at Will 2, Beam Overload 2, Beam Targets version 2, and now we come to cannons, because cannons are unique to escorts. Cannons are awesome because they do a lot of damage, and on an escort type ship, that's what you want. So here are the cannon abilities. Rapid Fire, it improves your next cannon attack. It quickly fires numerous bolts. With some cannon types, this decreases the amount of damage per individual shot. Think of this like the Salvo, the Torpedo High Yield. This is going to deal a lot of cannon fire at once. You hit this and you'll be just shooting them a lot more. This is very useful, especially on a single target. You will do a lot more damage by using this ability. Of course, this goes up to Cannon Rapid Fire 3. If you want, the best Cannon Rapid Fire, that's what you want. Cannon Rapid Fire 3. Cannon Scatter Volley is just like Torpedo Volley, but with cannons. Scatter Volley improves your next cannon attack. It fires a cone area of effect cannon spray centered on your target. So it's a spray of cannons. Now you may not hit all the ships, but it will just spray out cannon fire. Dispersal Pattern Alpha. It improves your next mine attack. It lays a series of mines behind your ship. So if you use mines, this could be very useful. Me personally, I don't use mines. But if you use mines, this Dispersal Pattern Alpha can help. And of course, Dispersal Pattern Beta, another thing for mines. Dispersal Pattern Beta improves your next mine attack. It lays a set of mines behind your ship. Tactical Team 2, of course, Torpedo High Yield 2, and Torpedo Spread 2. Of course, we have Attack Pattern Beta 2, Delta 2, and another fun one, Omega. This is a really good a maneuverability one. Attack Pattern Omega grants a damage buff and resistance while making you immune to movement debuffs, including teleport. It also bestows a short burst of speed and maneuvering to quickly close in or escape out of range. So this will actually increase your flight speed and turn rate so you can move quicker. It'll also get you out of tractor beams too, and it allows you not to teleport, or someone to teleport you. Attack Pattern Omega is a very useful one. Of course, the level 1 is here at Lieutenant Commander, so I mean it requires you to use one of those higher tiered spots on your bridge officer, but it is a very useful attack pattern. So this Attack Pattern Omega is probably one that is probably one of the better ones, but it requires a lot. You have to sacrifice a higher end slot for it. Of course, Cannon Rapid Fire 2, Scatter Volley 2, Dispersal Pattern Alpha 2, Beta 2, and then Omega 2. And of course, as a tactical officer, your captain can train as well. I can train in Beam Fire at Will 3, which takes the Lieutenant Commander, Torpedo High Yield 3, which is Lieutenant Commander, Attack Pattern Omega 3, Cannon Rapid Fire 3, this is the one I use all the time on like every ship build I use here, Dispersal Pattern Beta 3, I don't use mine, so I don't worry about that. So those are the things you can train up to your bridge officers, obviously. Stations here, your bridge officers on a tactical captain, and of course if you're using an escort, it will have a commander tactical station, and that's where you'll really be able to use these abilities. As you can see here, I have Cannon Rapid Fire 3 enabled here, Cannon Scatter Volley 2, Torpedo Spread 2, Torpedo High Yield 3, Attack Pattern Beta 1, and Tactical Team, 2 tactical teams actually. So playing a tactical character, there's really only one choice. Whereas with an engineer, you had a little versatility in being a support role, or being, damage, or being offensive or defensive. In science, you have those roles as well. Well, the tactical, you're not really going to play a support role. I mean, there's no reason or way to do that, because tactical is a little more papery thin. People like to call escorts glass cannons, because They do a lot of damage, but it's like they're made of glass. So you're not going to be playing that support role too much. You will be doing a lot of damage though. So as a tactical character, you can fly a cruiser on a tactical character. You can fly a science vessel on a tactical character, but honestly, really, an escort is going to allow you to do more damage because of the dual heavy cannons and all that you can put on escorts. Whereas the other ships, you're just limited to beam weapons. And you are kind of doing your tactical character a disservice if you are not using cannons and a tactical ship, because the whole point of a tactical character is that it can do the DPS, it can do the damage. You can really do a lot of damage with a tactical character. So that's why it just kind of makes a lot more sense to use escorts. Otherwise you're just not using your tactical character to the full abilities that it can be used. Alright, so let's go over what we did in the last video. We went over the innate abilities available to the character as you level up. At level 7 you get an ability called Attack Pattern Alpha. So we'll talk about that in space. We'll go look at that. Attack Pattern Alpha, tactical ability. We get at 17 we get Fire on My Mark. At 27 we get Tactical Initiative. 37 we get Go Down Fighting, and then at now 57, well, we get, I guess at 47 we get Tactical Fleet, and then at 57 we get Tactical Fleet version 3. So we will go talk about those in space when we beam up there. We'll go over each one. Let's jump into the skills. Again, you've got to set your powers right first, and then you go in and set the spills. It's either the spills or the skills. It's one of those. We set the skills right. So obviously engineering systems, we focused on that on the engineering video. Science, we focused on that in the science video. You will see here for my build, I've got like nothing in science except for shield systems, and I don't even know why. Again, this is from a very old build, and I probably need to respec and change this, but I don't have any respec points. I'd have to spend money to do that. But I did put skill points into shields to increase my shield capacity. I don't even know why I did that. Honestly, there's probably better things I could do with that, with those skill points, because it looks like I put a lot into engineering on this character. I don't know why, again, I did that. Driver coil I would definitely remove, because I wouldn't need that. Some of these, though, are still important even on a tactical character. Something like, for example, warp core efficiency and warp core potential. I definitely want those maxed out because that's going to be my power levels. And just like any other ship, any other career, power levels are extremely important. Especially your weapon power is very important for an escort. So I would definitely keep those on there. Engine performance is something you could concentrate on an escort. The more you can buff your engine power or engine speed, the more maneuverable your ship is going to be, and that is very useful as a tactical character on flying an escort. Again, also because that increases your defense as you're flying around faster, and that's very good for a tactical escort ship because you're going to fly in, do damage, and fly out, and you want a little more defense probably on an escort tactical type of build. Structural integrity is going to help your hull strength. I would probably keep that on there. Hull plating, that's just going to resist energy damage. I mean, you can have that, but I could probably do with some reskilling here for sure. But let's focus on the tactical systems, because this is where you're going to want to focus on your tactical character here for space. If you're going to use attack patterns, and I do recommend using them, put skill point into attack patterns. This is pretty much the only character or character type that's going to really benefit from those attack patterns. Alpha, Beta, Delta, Omega, whatever you use, put them in here. Alpha is one that comes native with your character. Remember, it is unlocked at level 7 here. You get attack pattern Alpha in space. So putting points into attack patterns is going to help your attack pattern Alpha. and you're going to have that as a tactical character no matter what. And then you may even add another one to your ship, like I did. I added Beta, but you may also add Omega. So having skill points here is going to help, and you're going to see when we get to space how Attack Pattern Alpha really does help, because it increases your damage. So putting skill into attack patterns is really going to help that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. That matches. Of course, I have weapons training and energy weapons and projectile weapons and targeting systems. Targeting systems probably more important here on an escort as well, because you really want that accuracy to do more damage. But these are kind of the core ones, definitely. Like I said in the last video, energy weapons, weapons training, projectile weapons, targeting systems, these are kind of the core that I have on every character and every ship, no matter what. But then attack patterns I definitely add for my tactical character. And then at the end here we have energy weapon specialization. Basically, this skill improves your starship critical hit and severity with all energy weapons. So a big thing about tactical characters and escorts is you're going to be doing more critical hits, or hopefully you'll have a higher chance to do more critical hits. And critical hits are one way to really get your damage up. So if you can increase these abilities here, you will increase your critical hit damage. So this is important. But there are other things here too. Starship Maneuver. This skill improves your defense value. So if you really did want to put a lot more into defense, so that it would help you as you fly in and shoot the enemy and not take as much damage. Let's say you really do have a glass cannon. You really do have an escort that is like firing at glass. Putting points here will help you a lot, because that's going to increase your defense value. And stealth as well. This improves your ship's stealth abilities, mask energy signature or cloak. Now, mask energy signature you may not use a lot, but you may use cloak. You may have a tactical ship like the Defiant or something else that has a cloaking device on it. So this can really help your ship if you put points into stealth and use cloaking stuff a lot. This would probably be a little more beneficial on Klingons, which inherently have that cloak. Romulans too, I think, but more so Klingons, that inherently most of those ships have a cloak. Starship Stealth could really help on a tactical character for that side. And there's also threat. You can increase your threat, which really I don't see necessary on a tactical character. The more threat you take, well, that's just going to be really terrible for you, because you're a tactical character. You're going to die more. That's just not what you want to do. You want to do more damage, not take more threat. So that is pretty much the skills there. Let's go into the traits. Again, just like any character, you want to make sure your traits are all set. I am alien. My species is alien. That's why I have so many personal trait slots available to me, if you may ask. The alien, like I said at the very first video, pretty much has the most versatility and customization available to them. So, and they also have an extra personal trait slot. So that's why I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 10 trait slots. Of course, you also get another one at level 60. So I've got 10 trait slots here. Very useful. Okay, let's talk about space traits, shall we? Accurate. Very important to have on a tactical character. The more you can hit them, the more accuracy you have, the more damage you're going to do. That's just a given. Astrophysicist, of course, you probably want to stay away from him unless you use cloaking a lot, because that helps with stealth. But improves shield drain, improves exotic damage. You're not going to be using that with a tactical character and an escort. Crippling Fire. This one you may use. This one is a space trait. The space trait causes all of your critical hits with attacks to reduce your target's accuracy by a moderate amount. So when you do a critical hit, it reduces their accuracy. So that's something you could use. But I find these more advantageous here. Efficient Captain improves power levels when low. Elusive increases my defense. You've got Living Hull. You could do hull regeneration, but that's more of a cruiser thing, really. Momentum. I like this one a lot. This one is a space trait. The longer you remain in combat, the more maneuverable you are able to make your starship. Every several seconds, your flight speed and turn rate will increase up to a maximum of 4 stacks. All stacks of this buff will be lost when you leave combat. So this basically increases my flight speed and turn rate when I'm in combat, which for an escort really helps out because you can get out of the line of fire a lot quicker. You can move faster, which will increase your defense. So this is very important, and I believe that you get this from the mission down here. Surface tension, I think that's where I got it from. It was the... no, because that's living hull. Fluidic antigens. Okay, I don't know where I got it. It's not that one. It's somewhere. And gosh, I can't remember where it's at. But it's a trait. You could probably find it on the exchange. It's one of those traits that you have to get or add to your character. And Techie, of course, you probably wouldn't use. Improved hull healing. Warp Theorist, I would say definitely beneficial. Improves your power levels and power transfer rate. Power transfer rate is also equally important on an escort, just like it is on a cruiser with beams, because those cannons they need a lot of weapon power. So if you can have a high power transfer rate, that will help keep the weapon power up, so you're doing more damage. The more weapon power you can have on an escort, well, the more damage you're going to do. Last Ditch Effort. This goes with the special ability of go down fighting that tactical characters have, that just like the engineering has Miracle Worker, and that goes with Grace Under Fire. This is the tactical version. This is Last Ditch Effort, goes with go down fighting. So this doubles the amount of damage resistance that your outgoing weapon attacks grant you while under the effects of go down fighting. The damage resistance increase stacks up to 3 times a plus 100% damage resistance from go down fighting. So that is huge. Basically, you're going to take no damage while go down fighting is on when this is activated. So that is just absolutely huge. And we'll talk about go down fighting when we beam up to space. So that's what I chose, is accurate, creative, and that was is that ground? No, that's efficient captain, elusive, warp theorist. Warp Theorist, Last Ditch Effort, elusive. That's what I chose. Also, don't forget your reputation. Space traits as well are going to be important. New one that I added, I went ahead and added this one from the Delta Alliance, and we're going to see how it works, because I haven't really tried this out very much yet. This is Rending Shots. Every time your ship fires a weapon, you will receive a bonus to critical hit chance. Upon a successful critical hit, the bonus given by this trait is reset. So basically, I can increase my critical hit chance by using this ability, or at least that's the idea. So by increasing my critical hit chance, I'll do more critical hits. But of course, once I get a critical hit, then this resets. But I wanted to get that critical hit chance up so I can do more critical hits. So we'll see how that works. It's a new thing anyway. I've got Precision activated to give me more hit chance. I have this activated to give me more critical severity. And then this one is Auxiliary Power Offensive for more all damage and accuracy. So obviously this is just going to depend on what reputations you've unlocked and what powers you have available. So look through them and choose what makes sense for you. Okay, so that's traits. And specializations. Yes. If you are flying a ship and all you are really interested in this game is flying in space, or you have a tactical character with an escort, putting points into pilot is really, really, really going to help you and your ship. These are just awesome abilities. This one not so much. These here. Attack pattern expertise. When activating attack patterns, you get temporary hit points. 143.4 hit points for 15 seconds. Here's version 2 of that. When activating attack patterns, you get 286 temporary hit points. So what this does is, let's say you enable an attack pattern, and it cannot be attack pattern alpha, but another attack pattern like beta, delta, or gamma. If you enable one of those attack patterns, you will instantly receive temporary health or hit points to your ship for 15 seconds. This is extremely useful. So if you use attack patterns, this is useful. Obviously, if you don't use attack patterns, it's not useful, and this doesn't work with attack pattern alpha. It has to be another attack pattern. But if you use attack patterns like I do, then this becomes active pretty much all the time, because it's not it enables every single time you hit attack pattern beta, delta, or gamma. It's just there instantly for you. And what it does is just give you more health or hit points for 15 seconds. Makes your ship a little tougher. That means if you're up against a really tough enemy, you know, and you're trying to take them down, well, you hit an attack pattern, bam, instantly you have a higher hull strength in space. You're going to be able to take a little more damage. This has helped me tremendously in combat. So I recommend this tree here for sure if you're going to be flying an escort. Of course, there's other things here. Back her off if you're going in reverse. You gain flight speed and defense while in reverse. You've got other abilities here. Eat My Dust, Desperate Flight. As the hull decreases, the turn rate and speed increase. So literally, as your hull strength decreases, you get more turn rate and more speed. That's going to help your defense. Bonus begins at 80% hull, up to 20% max bonus at 20% hull. Gonna help. Reckless Abandon, immune to movement impairing effects for 2 seconds when using evasive maneuvers. Awesome. So these abilities here are very useful for an escort. Specializations, don't forget to use them. So we kind of went over the things that I'm using here. Obviously, it's just going to depend, you know, the abilities you want to use. I'm using cannons. I will show you my ship here. I am using a Patrol Escort Refit Tier 5U. Expect a review on this ship. You will get one on this ship. And, ooh, my thing should be ready now. I had a thing baking. Or maybe it's not ready yet. Okay, I could claim it now. Let's go ahead and do that then. Now my thing is ready. Oh, Mark 14. Check it out. All Mark 14 consoles here for increasing my damage. Oh yeah. Look at that. 5 of them. Sweet. But anyway, cannons is what I'm using. Obviously, I'm using an escort, and that's kind of what you're going to be using a lot on a tactical character with an escort, is you're going to want to use cannons and turrets and all that good stuff. It's going to just make you more powerful, right? So obviously you want to make sure your station powers match that. Cannon Rapid Fire 3, Torpedo High Yield 3, because I do use torpedoes too. Cannon Scatter Volley 2. I couldn't have Cannon Scatter Volley 3 because it would take up this slot, and I don't have that slot, so can't do that. So I went ahead and put Torpedo High Yield 3 there. But also, I wanted to give myself a little bit of defense because this ship was a little squishy at first. So I went ahead and gave myself reverse shield polarity so I can go in and just take a little more damage and do more damage. Give me more time to do more damage. Also, Engineering Team 2, Emergency Powered Weapons 1, Hazard Emitters, Science Team 2. Pretty basic setup. But this ship does really well. Cannons all the way. Got my masteries unlocked. Very powerful, very powerful. I can do a lot of damage with this. I'm near like 20k damage on this thing, if not at 20k damage now. So pretty good, powerful ship here. Okay, let's see. We talked about all that. We talked about, you know, the traits. Again, you want to concentrate on traits that increase your, you know, critical severity and your critical chance. Get the critical chance up, get the critical severity up, so you can do more critical hits and that sort of thing. That's going to be important for a tactical character because you're going to get a lot out of that. So I guess at this time we pretty much talked about everything there is to talk about for space. So let's go up to space and we will look over those native abilities we have as a tactical character. Anytime now, game. Anytime. Okay, now we are in space. So let's talk about those space abilities because they are pretty awesome. You get Attack Pattern Alpha as a tactical character. So here's Attack Pattern Alpha. Of course, I have level 3 because I am level 60 right now. This gives you, plus, look at this, almost a 50% all damage for 30 seconds. So flat out, this is going to increase your damage. Bam, you want to use that every time you go into battle. because that's going to increase your damage. It's going to give you more DPS. It also increases your critical chance. So my critical chance for doing critical hits goes up. But then it's also going to give me 50% almost critical severity. So not just the chance, but the critical severity has also gone up. And look at that turn rate, almost 120% flight turn rate for 30 seconds. So this is why Attack Pattern Alpha is an extremely important ability to use as a tactical officer, because it's really going to increase your damage, your critical chance, your critical severity, and give you a flight turn rate boost so that you can have more defense, actually. Very important. This levels up with you, of course. You get it at level 7, so that's really early in the game, really early in your leveling of a character. Just remember to hit P and drag that power into your hotbar. And here's what it looks like when you activate it. Yeah, baby. Attack Pattern Alpha. You want to use that. Okay. Next one. At 17, you get Fire on My Mark. That's this one here. I can't activate it until I'm in battle. But Fire on My Mark is a damage resistance and stealth debuff. You target the foe, so you have to click on them or whatever, or highlight them. And then you get a 41.5 all damage resistance rating to them, a negative 41, and negative 75 stealth strength for 30 seconds. But you have to click on them and then hit that. Or, you know, tab over to them, or whatever you do. However you do it, you have to select the enemy and then click Fire on My Mark. Very useful. Okay, 27, you get Tactical Initiative. Just like, no, that's to be Tactical Fleet. Tactical Initiative. Okay, here you go. This is a recharge buff. Targets friend and self, so you can target a friend with it, or you can target yourself. Reduces the recharge timers on tactical bridge officers' abilities by 0.45% for 45 seconds. So it's not even 1%, but it will reduce the time that your bridge officer abilities cool down. So like if you have used a lot of bridge officer abilities, hit this, and what will happen is basically they will just cool down faster and you'll be able to use them sooner. But there is a 3-minute cooldown on this thing itself. Okay, that's Tactical Initiative, and then at 37 we get Go Down Fighting. Where are you, Go Down Fighting? Here you are. Go Down Fighting. This is a scaled damage buff. So what happens is, as you take damage, if your hull decreases enough, this will light up and then you're able to use it. And it allows a plus 24.9% all damage for 1 minute. Grants Go Down Fighting for 1 minute. When certain events occur, a 100% chance of owner applying Go Down Fighting, max 1 time for 3 seconds, plus 10 all damage resistance rating. But this will only enable when your hull lowers to a certain degree. And then you can enable Go Down Fighting. Okay, and 47, we should have Tactical Fleet. So just like you have Science Fleet and Engineering Fleet, you also have a one for Tactical. Again, look at that. This increases damage, all damage, by plus 37.4%. So that's going to be huge for increasing your weapon damage. Also, it's going to give you more starship maneuvers, and it improves your weapon accuracy. This also works on friendly as well, allies. So if you're in a team, you know, enable Tactical Fleet, and your whole team will benefit from this. So they will all be doing more damage and more weapon accuracy and so forth. So make sure to enable that if you're in a team for sure. But there is a cooldown, obviously. So those are the basic innate abilities that come with your tactical character in space. What I want to look at now is to see how it does improve your weapon damage. For example, this right now here on this weapon, I'm doing 1850 DPS, okay? So I enable Attack Pattern Alpha. That goes up to 2709. 3177. With that enabled, 3354. Holy moly. Look at that. 5,000 phaser damage, 3,354 DPS. That's with emergency power to weapons. That's with Alpha Pattern. That is with Tactical Fleet. You enable all that stuff, Yeah, you're going to be doing a ton of damage, and now you can see how you can do that as a tactical officer. It's you just have to remember to enable those things. But see, the 5-minute cooldown on that is the kicker. But this one, at least, Attack Pattern Alpha, has a shorter cooldown, so you will be able to use this one more often, thankfully. And this is really going to improve your damage. I mean, as you saw, it really does improve your damage. So you want to use that a lot. Of course, I have Attack Pattern Beta. You could put anything else you want on here, Delta, Omega. I'm using Beta right now. Adds the following to all weapons to target. It reduces their damage resistance and stealth. And, oh yeah, when activating attack patterns, here's where the specialization comes in. The specialization, this one right here, the, not Desperate Flight, this one right here. Attack Pattern Expertise. In space, you can see now it's giving me 5,248 hull. So here's what happens when I enable this. See that little pink came over my ship there? That's the extra hull strength added to my ship. So my hull strength now, you can see, my hull is 59,693, but my temporary hit points are 5,248. So it's basically like having 5,000 more hull. But then it goes away. But for that short period it's activated, you have more hull strength. 5,000 more hull strength. And the cooldown on it's pretty short, so once it's run down, look, it's run down, but I can activate it right here again. Bam, there it is, another temporary hit point. So the cooldown is only 30 seconds on that. So that's why that's real useful. Attack Pattern Expertise 2. I end up using this obviously all the time because I'm always using Attack Pattern Beta. So all the time pretty much I'm gaining 5,000 extra hull hit points. So that's very nice to have. That specialization, I really enjoy that specialization. Everything else is pretty much, you know, just regular tactical powers. You have Cannon Rapid Fire 3, High Yield, Tactical Team, and of course you can select people and you can do Tactical Team on them. You can't do Alpha, but you can. I think you can do Beta on somebody. Let's see. No, you can't. Okay, it's only on yourself. But it says you can do Tactical Initiative, so I guess you can, even though it doesn't look like it. So those are all our tactical powers in space. So the big thing about, you know, tactical ships is maneuverability, because that's going to increase your defense. As you look here at stats and you look at bonus defense, when I'm stopped, when I'm not moving, my defense is 0%. Or it's nothing, basically. But you can have a negative defense when you're just sitting as well. So I have some points into defense, or I know trait into defense is what it is. But as I increase my impulse speed, one notch up there, see I'm getting near 20% defense. Another notch, I'm getting now almost 40%. And almost 60, and then at full impulse here I'm getting 70% bonus defense. But if I can move faster, if I were to get a buff that moved me faster, that should increase my something here, should increase my I bet Alpha Pattern might should increase my defense even more a little bit, maybe. If I went to full impulse, that should increase my defense a lot. Evasive maneuvers. You can see my defense is now 95% with evasive maneuvers. Oh, and I guess it doesn't go up with Attack Pattern Alpha. Or Beta. Oh well. If I put power into engines, though, that should do it. Because I should be going faster. That should increase my defense, right? But it's not. Huh, interesting. Okay, I guess not then. Never mind. Now we are very far away. Another thing is when you look at adding, you know, warp cores and that type of thing to your ship, something that does extra damage, like for example, I have on here the Synergy Amp, it's called AMP basically. It does a, well, this is a Mark 13 version, but a Mark 12 version of this warp core would do plus 3.3% all damage for each subsystem. when power is 75 or more. So that's something to look at too, just to add a little bit more damage to your ship. This warp core here has resistance to power level, an increase to base resistance rate of all power levels, and an increase to base regeneration rate of all power levels. Because again, it's all about keeping your power levels high, especially the weapon power, to do damage. This also has a weapon cap, so I can just increase my weapon power even more and just have total absolute weapon power, although it looks like that's not really doing anything. Probably because I'm already maxed out at 125. But if my power levels were low, or I were taking a lot of damage or doing a lot of things, my power levels are low, then the weapon cap would help. So very cool. You can see how all that helps you do more damage as a tactical officer. So that is pretty much space. I don't think there's much more I can talk about here on space. You know, you're going to have low shields, you're going to have low resistances, low hull. All these things are going to be lower on a tactical escort, but you want to keep the accuracy up, the critical chance, the critical severity, so you can do more damage. You know, if you can kill the enemy faster or kill the enemy first, then they're not going to do as much damage to you, obviously. So that's the kind of the idea there. Look, my power transfer rate's 266%. So that's kind of the idea there, is that you want to do damage to them first so that they don't kill you. So you just need to do a lot of damage. Okay, let's go talk about ground, tactical ground. Tactical ground can technically probably be a little more difficult because a lot of the powers are about buffs and debuffs and that sort of thing. So we'll talk about the trainable powers first. Tactical ground, okay. Battle strategies. Battle strategies remove debuffs and applies a short duration buff that improves all damage. Additionally, any enemy that attacks the target will have a chance of getting exposed. Exposed is a big thing that tactical officers can also do. Of course, I guess science officers can as well with tricorder scan, but if you expose an enemy, you can do more damage with your secondary fire on your weapon, is basically all that means. But battle strategies is a good ability here because it improves all damage, so you can do more damage and you expose the enemy in the process, but really it's for doing all damage. Draw fire. Draw fire increases your threat and places a fake exposed marker on you, making enemies more likely to attack you. It also increases your damage resistance. This ability is fragile, meaning it will cancel early if you take too much damage. Threat control skill improves your threat, while special force skill improves your damage resistance. So two different skills to improve it. It takes a lot to improve it. I don't think that increasing your threat is that beneficial on a tactical character though, but you could. It does give you some resistance when it does that. Photon grenades. Grenades are fun for tactical officers, throwing grenades. A photon grenade is pretty much the most standard of them. Throws a grenade at the target. The grenade explodes on contact, dealing an area effect kinetic damage and knockback. It is possible for the target to move away from the blast radius while the grenade is in transit. Damage from the explosion partially ignores shields. So basically this is just your standard photon grenade. There are so many different grenades now in the game. There's the plasma grenade, and there's now Delta Alliance has a neutronic grenade. It's pretty cool. So there's several different types. There's also flash grenades. Sweeping strikes. Sweeping strikes are martial arts strikes that focus on attacking multiple opponents with a chance of delivering knockback and exposed states. These strikes chain more slowly than single target focused martial arts combinations, but each delivers significant damage to multiple opponents. Since the frequency of knockback is much higher with this ability, an extended resistance is applied to targets should they be knocked back. So you could put sweeping strikes on, a bridge officer of yours on the ground, and they could actually go and do martial arts on the enemy. Think about that. Battle Strategies 2, Draw Fire 2, of course. Lunge, this one is also fun. Lunge launches you across the gap to your target, dealing melee damage with a chance to knock down. This attack can exploit targets. So basically, you literally launch or leap from where you are and lunge at your opponent and knock them down. It's literally just like that. It's fun to watch. Photon Grenade 2, Smoke Grenade. That's another type of grenade. Smoke Grenade creates a smoke cloud at the target's location that reduces enemy perception and improves allies' stealth for any within the cloud effect. Suppressing Fire, Suppressing Fire enhances your firearms. Any target you are firing your ranged weapon at will be slowed and have its damage debuff. There is a chance that the target will also be rooted. The duration of the effect on the target is short and will only be sustained as long as you continue to fire upon the target. Sweeping Strikes 2, Target Optics. This one is a native ability on your own captain, but you can also train this to your bridge officers. Target Optics buffs your damage, perception, crit chance, and crit severity. It has a chance to expose enemies within the cone. You want to use this on your character all the time, because this will buff your damage, perception, and crit chance and severity. Very important for a tactical officer to have all those things buffed. And you have that ability innate to your captain. We'll go over it in a second. So you want to, you can train that to any bridge officer as well, basically, from here. Fire on My Mark. Fire on My Mark applies a damage resistance and stealth debuff on the enemy target. Lunge 2, Overwatch. Overwatch grants a damage resistance buff to all your nearby allies. Additionally, any foes that attack your protected allies will have their damage resistance debuffed and risk getting exposed. Allies must remain close to you to maintain the benefits of Overwatch. So when this is activated, there's like this pattern on the ground, and you all kind of have to stay inside that circle, and then that will apply. Plasma Grenade. This one is also fun. Throws a plasma grenade at the target. The grenade explodes on contact, dealing an area effect kinetic damage. It is possible for the target to move away. A burning plasma fire lingers in the explosion area, damaging anyone that enters. Damage from the initial explosion and the plasma fire partially ignores shields. So you can continually burn your enemy with plasma fire using this grenade. Really cool. Smoke Grenade 2, and then Stealth Module. Being stealthy is a part of tactical officers. If you want to play stealthy, this is the way to go as well, tactical. Stealth Module masks you from sight, but enemies can detect you at close range. While cloaked, your abilities that affect others, including attacks, will remove the cloak. Version 1 has a 3% chance in its stealth strength, version 2 has a 2% variance, and version 3 has a 1% variance. Suppressing Fire 2, Target Optics 2, Ambush 1. Ambush grants you a small stealth and a large damage buff for your next attack. The stealth and damage bonus expires when you attack or the duration runs out. Motion Accelerator, another thing tactical characters can do. Motion Accelerator grants you and all by allies a speed and physical damage buff while making you immune to holds, roots, and speed debuffs. Can be used while held. So basically, you can run faster, and this will make it'll help buff you against holds, roots, and speed debuffs. Overwatch 2, Plasma Grenade 2, Stealth Module 2, Stun Grenade, another type of grenade. Throws a stun grenade at the target. The grenade explodes on contact, dealing an area of effect kinetic damage and applying a fragile hold on targets. Fragile means the target will wake if it takes too much damage. It is possible for the target to move away, blah blah blah. So those are the ground abilities you can train up. Now obviously there's even more for yourself because you use kit powers for your own self, and we'll talk about that. But let's talk about the innate ones you get as you level up through the game. Level 7, you get your first one, which is... No, it's not 7, it's 4. You get your first one, which is called Target Optics, as we just talked about. This is Target Optics, and I believe I have tooltips turned off or something, because it's not showing me. I don't know where that option is at, actually. I had turned them off because they kind of annoy me when I'm using the buttons, but I want to turn it on now so that you can see what I'm doing, or see what the things are, but I don't remember where it's at. Hide tool trade chips. Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Alright, target optics. An offense and perception buff, basically. To self, it's going to grant you plus 56. That's pretty high all damage for 15 seconds. So that's a pretty high increasing your damage for 15 seconds. And it also increases your critical chance, your critical severity, and perception, and a 20% chance that it'll expose the target. So this is an ability you want to enable all the time. The great thing about this is it's got a very short cooldown. But here's the thing, you do need to target the enemy first, then hit it. It does that. And then look at the cooldown on it is really only a minute. So it's a pretty quick cooldown. But this only lasts for 15 seconds, so really you got about 45 seconds of that you won't be able to use it there. See, it's off now. 15 seconds is over, but then look, I've only got 30 seconds left here that I can have to wait here, and then I can use it again. But it's a thing that you want to use it before you go into combat, or as you're going into combat. You want to like run into the enemy, and as you're running, into the enemy, you want to highlight them and then hit target optics on them. Like, let's say this is the enemy here, I'm running toward it, I'm going into battle, bam, I do that, and then I start firing, right? So you want to use target optics. That's very, very, very important to your character. Comes at level 4, just remember to put the icon on there. At 14, you get Fire on My Mark ground ability, which is one of these somewhere. Fire on My Mark, here it is. Damage, resistance, and stealth debuff targets foe. Basically, it's the same thing like in space, but on ground. Just remember to put that on there and use it. 24, you get Tactical Initiative. This is an area of effect recharge buff, so it affects your friends and yourself, and you get a reduced recharge timers on all team abilities by 0.36% for 20 seconds. So it's just like the one in space, but on ground here. So like, let's say you use an ability, you want to cool down faster, team ability. Actually see how that worked. Look at that. It brought that down to 15 seconds. Cool, huh? Security Escort. This is a fun one that tactical officers get. This beams down security officers. You target friend and self. You beam down 2 level 61, security 3, of course, because I'm level 60. Escorts, 20% chance to beam down 2 additional. That's because I have a DOF, and I'll go over that. But basically, this beams down security escorts, so like this. And they help fight beside you. So that's one way you can do more damage on ground as well, is to beam in security escorts. You can also target an ally and use security escorts, and the escorts will help the ally as well. So it doesn't have to be just you, but if you target an ally, you can help an ally. If you don't target anyone, then they just help you. Okay. It's Tactical Initiative, a security escort. So 44 is Strike Team. Strike Team, Strike Team. Where is Strike Team? Do I even have... Yeah, here it is. Strike Team. This is your team damage and critical buff. Basically, it affects yourself and friends. So if you're in a team, you want to use this too. It'll help all of your team members. It gives you all damage for 1 minute. It increases your critical chance and critical severity for 1 minute. So a very important thing to use on ground, because for 1 minute you can do more damage. Well, everybody on your team can do more damage. So Strike Team, you want to use it. It looks like this. It lasts for a minute, but it has a 5-minute cooldown. So just, make sure to use it at the right time. So that's what you get. Of course, Strike Team 3 at 54. That's the upgrade there. So those are your ground abilities that come with every tactical character, and you just need to make sure, of course, to hit your P button and bring those buttons down on your hotbar so that you can activate them, because you want to use those powers as a tactical officer. Everything else is going to rely on what kit you're using and your kit powers, and that can be for anyone or anything. So let's go over, before we go into the kit powers, because for that I will want to go into the exchange and look at other kit powers available. Let us go into traits. Ground traits, again, very important. Just like space, you want to probably pick the traits that do more critical chance and critical severity, but there are so many here, really. You just have to figure out what you want to use, yourself, or how you want to play the game. Acute senses, you could increase your perception and exploit damage, resistance to flanking damage. I mean, this could be very useful right here for a tactical officer. Aggressive, you could do +5 all damage, but then you have a +5 threat generation on top of that. Cold-blooded, I mean, you can do plasma damage, resistance, fire damage, just like resistance stuff. We've been over most of these, well, actually all of these, in the previous video, so I'm not going to go over every one. I'll just show you the ones I'm using. I'm using Creative, which improves your healing with all powers. This affects both health and shield. So basically plus 15% healing to shields and hit points, and a plus 10% damage dealt by kit powers. And that's why I chose this one specifically, is that plus 10% to damage dealt by kit powers. So my kit powers are doing plus 10% more damage, basically. That's very important on a tactical character who's using kit powers that do damage. Lucky. This gives me a plus 3% critical chance and an increased chance to expose. Soldier increases the damage and critical hit damage of your ranged weapons. All attacks have a chance to do bonus damage, and this is called a critical hit. This trait increases the damage done when you successfully land a critical hit. So basically more critical hit damage. This one is Strike Team Specialist. When attacking targets, you have a chance to increase your critical hit chance. This can stack up to 3 times. 40% chance for 2 plus 2.5 critical chance when attacking. So those are the ground ones I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have more space than I have ground, apparently. But those are the 4 ground ones I'm using. Obviously, I have more than that because I'm also using the reputation ones. I have this one. Deadly Aim is increasing my critical severity. This one is increasing my hit chance. This one is Graviton Pulse Module. It has a 5% chance to deal kinetic damage with 100% shield penetration to your weapons in ground combat. So that's very useful, especially against a Borg. And then Omega Weapon Proficiency is going to increase all weapon damage by plus 5%. So more weapon damage right there. Definitely want that as a tactical character. And if I meleeed, I could do that. But basically, obviously, your reputation powers are just going to depend on what reputations you have unlocked and what powers you have available to you. But look through them and pick what makes sense to your character. Skills. Let's get to the Skittles here. Obviously, the ground skills, tactical officer. This is where you're going to focus on your skills for your powers. Set your powers first, then set your skills naturally. Also, set your kit powers first, and then skills, because the skills affect, your kit powers too. Grenades. Let's say you like to throw grenades. There's actually a kit called a grenade satchel in this game that will give you nothing but like every type of grenade. It's really, really awesome. I have it on one of my Klingon characters. Maybe I'll show you guys it because it's really cool. It's just nothing but a kit of grenades. So if you have a kit of grenades, photon, plasma, smoke grenade, stun grenade, this skill is going to help you. But even if you just have one that you throw a lot or all the time and you're really heavy into that, putting skill points here could help that grenade. So keep that in mind. Photon, plasma, smoke, or stun grenade. Combat, well, let's go into weapon proficiency. This skill improves ground weapon damage. This skill only improves the damage of ground weapons and does not improve any secondary effects. So basically, yeah, you want that max. You want to increase your weapon damage on ground. For a tactical character, very important. You want to keep pumping out that damage. Combat Specialist. This skill improves the damage for ranged weapons, melee weapons, and unarmed combat. This skill also improves your critical chance and critical severity damage with all attacks. This skill stacks with the weapon proficiency skill. So that's why I have this maxed out, is for the severity and critical chance and the ranged weapon when I use ranged weapons. PS generator is going to improve your shield hit points. I just have that so I can just take a little more damage and not die, but I could take something out of this and put it somewhere else. Special Forces. This skill improves all self-buffing tactical abilities, including power cell devices. Only buffs that directly target yourself are improved with this skill. So target optics, ambush, stealth, draw fire, and you notice I use a lot of those abilities, especially, I mean, everyone's going to use target optics, but I also use ambush and draw fire, and I guess I don't use draw fire. No, I use I use ambush and I use target optics. I don't have a stealth module. Threat control. This one's going to increase your threat. I don't see a need for that as a tactical character, to be honest with you. Willpower. This skill grants you resistance to control effects, so it's going to have a resistance to hold, stun, disable, root, slow, placate, confuse, knock, and repel. I have it maxed just because I have it maxed, but honestly, I could deal with being knocked down a bit more if I could put some more skill into other areas that could help me. So if I were going to respec this, I might look, into changing that. Advanced Tactics. This is going to help suppressing fire on my mark in Overwatch. I don't use Overwatch. I do use fire on my mark, and I did used to use suppressing fire. I don't now, but putting skill into there would help me, at least for that ability I use. Combat Armor improves your damage resistance. However, it does not improve the effective damage resistance of any armor you are wearing. See, this skill improves your ground armor. This skill does not grant any passive damage resistance. However, it does improve the effective damage resistance of any armor you are wearing. So it's all about the armor there. So ground skills, you just again want to focus on. Make sure you put points in things you're using. Obviously, you guys see here, there's some things I could change that would help me better. So that's important. Specializations. Obviously, if you're going to be ground, if you're going to do a lot of ground stuff, tactical character, ground, whatever, you want to go commando. These abilities here really help. I haven't even looked at all of them yet, but I know that, well, look, while aiming, you get more critical chance. That's cool. So all of these, though, I know that commando is all ground. So if you want to stick with, ground abilities, and ground is what you play on most, put your specialization points into commando. I have not on this character so much. I'm using pilot instead, but yeah, you could. Obviously, you want to train up your bridge officers for ground, put the powers that they have. I just have one tactical character here because I'm tactical myself. But I gave him a plasma grenade, suppressing fire, a photon grenade, and battle strategies. So that's pretty much all that stuff, and I think now it's time to dive into kits, because this is really what's going to separate your tactical character from other people, is the kit powers you use, of course the kit frame that you use. This kit frame is the Spire prototype tactical kit. I got this from the Fleet Spire. It gives weapon proficiency, personal shield generator, special forces, and squad command. But there are so many different kit frames out there that do different things. So just look and pick the right kit frame for you, and that has the right module slots for the things you want to use. This has 2 strategic modules, 2 assault modules, and 1 tactical module slot. So you're just going to have to pick and choose and figure out what's out there. The kit, find out first the kit module you want to use, and kind of make yourself a list of the kit modules you want to use, and write them all down, and then see what kit allows you to use most of those modules, because you're going to be limited by the type of module that can fit in the kit frame. So just make sure that you pick the right module that goes in that kit frame. So make yourself a list of those modules you want to use and see what kit frame works best for those modules. That's how I would do it. The kit modules I'm using right now, this is basically experimentation, because I just basically set up this kit frame and kit modules like a couple of months ago, and this is like a first. Before that, I just had one of those baked in kits, one of the regular kits that you used to get before the customizable kits. So this is my first foray into actually customizing a tactical kit and figuring out what tactical abilities and modules you can put on here. I'm using the Battle Strategies module. I'm using Plasma Grenade because I love plasma grenades. I'm also using the new Neutronic Grenade from the Delta Alliance. I am using the Ambush module, and I am using Rally Cry. I really like Rally Cry. This was, I think, from the Fleet Spire as well. Rally Cry, as you can see, it does a lot here. To foe, you get a 20% chance to expose it, but you get hit points for 15 seconds to yourself, plus 12.7 hit points, plus 25 all damage resistance, a more critical chance, more critical severity, a 4% chance of hit points to your team when Rally Cry is used, and a 4% chance that 5 nearby fallen allies are revived. So if you use this around allies who are like dead on the ground, this could potentially revive them just by hitting the Rally Cry. So I kind of find that very useful. It helps your team a lot in addition to yourself. So this Rally Cry is very useful to me. But here's what that looks like. Rally Cry. Here's that one. This one is the Ambush. Basically, it's going to make me stealthy for 15 seconds. That's why I've gone dark here. Makes me stealthy for 15 seconds. It also makes me run funny. Like that. And then I have Battle Strategies. And then I can't activate this one until I'm in battle, but that's Fire on my mark. Attack Initiative. This one. Strike Team. Of course, bring down my officers. Those are my attack abilities, but there's so many, and there's other ones here too I can't fire right now. Plasma Grenade and Neutronic Grenade. But there's so many cool attack abilities. It's really hard to decide what you want to use or what's going to work best for you. You just need to play around with them. You just need to go get them and use them and see what they all do. Experimentation. That's really the way to go here. Experimentation. So we can go to kit modules. Let's start with the very rare. Again, I wish there was a subcategory we could actually select, but here's coordinated efforts. Here's a new one I've never tried before. Team Expose, exploit buff, continuous debuff removal, team buff, plus 21 expose chance and exploit damage, second activation. So I see a lot of stuff there. I don't even know what all that means, to be honest with you. A lot of buff and debuff stuff, that's for sure. That one seems to be pretty cheap. There's Draw Fire. Suppressing Fire. Draw Fire. There really are some good ones, but you're just going to have to go really search for these. I wonder if you can search by the module type. Let's see. Like this is, well, like this has strategic module. Let's see if we can search for strategic. Okay, you can. So that's probably the better way right here to do it. And then you can see what goes in each module. So coordinated efforts, draw fire, motivation, team crit buff, heal on crit for up to 12 seconds. All teammates gain all damage bonus. On hit, they gain health to self. So that's really cool. It kind of sounds like Rally Cry just a little bit. A motivation. There's Rally Cry. Overwatch, Psionic Command, Aura. Run speed increase and debuff removal to self and nearby allies for 25 seconds, 10% chance cleanse and debuff per second, plus 20% run speed, plus 44 control resistance rating. So that's how you do it, guys. Search by the type of module slot that you want to search by. So that was strategic. We can go to assault. There you go. Assault modules. There's lunge. Let's look at the very rare ones. Smoke grenade. Piercing strikes. Armor penetration. Damage resistance debuff. So see, there's a lot here. Deadly intent. Well, that sounds neat. Primary weapon attacks will reset the cooldown on secondary weapon attacks. Instantly refills 88% of all plasma fuel pools. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. Active immunity grenade. Holy crap, what is this? 240 kinetic damage, 50% shield penetration, applies infestation to targets. You get toxic damage every 1 second of negative run speed, 30% chance to infect another nearby target. Okay, I guess you can infect them with a grenade. It's an infectious grenade. So you can see, guys, how there's so many cool things here available for all of these kits. You're just going to have to search and see what's there and see what you want to try out. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. So, yeah, a lot of customization options there you can have for your tactical character. Just determine what you want to do. You want some grenades, you want some buffs, some debuffs, whatever you want, man. You can do it. There's a lot of abilities there. He had no legs for a second. He was half a body. Or she. No, he. Also, in the reputation now, under the Delta Alliance reputation, if you go to the store, you have these Intel modules. These are universal. They will plug into anywhere, and they are really cool. So you can, doesn't matter if you have a tactical, science, or engineering career, no matter what you are, no matter what kit you have, these modules will fit in there. And there are some really unique ones here. Feign disintegration, frictionless particle grenade, harmless, incite chaos, confuse, chance to spread confusion, 50% chance to spread confusion to target. Wow, you can incite chaos. Neurolytic injection. So these are some really, really cool and new abilities that you can put on a tactical officer or any officer. This tripwire drone, that's pretty cool. I've seen that in use. So these modules become available as you open up the stores in the Delta Alliance reputation. Of course, you need dilithium and you need certain specialization points to unlock them. You have to have, like, you have to get to a certain place to unlock each of these. But yeah, really cool on that. A lot of kit abilities there. You just have to, you know, figure all that out. And there's a lot to figure out. There's it is no small task, but there are a lot of cool abilities. So customize those modules, get a good frame for it. Yeah. I can't think of anything else on ground to talk about. We went over like everything here. So I think it's time to get to actual gameplay and show you guys all this stuff in action, right? Let's do Bug Hunt Elite. We'll do just what we did before. And I will show you what we can do here as far as a tactical officer goes. I will launch my security escorts when needed. Oh yeah, my bridge officer, or DOFs, that's what I was going to show you. For ground, I have versus Borg, but I have this one, a chance to beam down an additional security escort when using security team. So there's a 20% chance to beam down 2 additional level 4 security escort 3 crews. So I could have 4 security officers when I do this. There's a chance anyway. I have this one. This is a chance to reduce the recharge time by 2 seconds whenever a grenade is thrown. So if I throw a grenade, then my recharge time is reduced by 2 seconds. That's cool. This one, using ambush causes your next attack to deal double damage as a damage over time. So if I use ambush a lot, which I do, this will help that. And then assault, this one is cool for the rally cry. A chance to apply a large heal to nearby teammates when rally cry is used. It also has a chance to revive fallen allies. You get a 25% plus, there's a 4% chance of plus 25% hit points to team when it's used, and up to 5 nearby allies are revived. That's part of the DOF ability. That's not part of the rally cry. So that's really cool. That helps my rally cry. Otherwise, rally cry is just the hit points and all damage resistance and crit chance and crit severity. So it's the DOF that's giving it the team abilities there. But with that DOF, it really makes Rally Cry very useful. So I recommend that. Good, that started right up. So we'll get in here and I'll show you what we can do as a tactical officer on ground here in Bug Hunt Elite.
Welcome to Pariah 3. The mission is to spawn...
All right. So what I'm going to do is when the timer gets here near to 0, I'm going to hit Rally Cry, which will affect all of my team members here. Since they're all close to me, except for that guy, he's way over there. When they all get close to me here, when I enable Rally Cry, it will affect everybody. So you'll see that. That's the very first thing I do. I can also enable Strike Team, of course. That's going to allow us to do more damage and such. So I will do that. And I always do Target Optics. Basically, I just click everything. There we go. Rally Cry. Everybody now has Rally Cry. There's the Target Optics. There's Strike Team.
Flanking damage detected.
Here goes a Plasma Grenade. There's a Neutronic Grenade. So we got through that first wave rather well. So I'll do that to decrease my timers so that I can use them again on this next wave. I'll go ahead and call in a security escort when when these spawn down here. Come on, timers. There we go. Security team. They will help. Either that or they'll get killed really fast. Hey, they're good for taking some heat off of you, so that's fine too. Neutronic. Nice. Come on. I think there's another wave. Yes, there is.
Fire in the hole! Clear to proceed.
Flanking damage detected.
And that's how we deal with that. Let's recharge my timers. Rally cry. Do my thingy.
Enemy
Ooh, look at that. We've got a purple. Plasma grenade. Love the plasma grenade. Love the neutronic grenade too. It's pretty cool. I've been trying out the new Delta Alliance stuff.
Damage detected.
So that's what I'm experimenting with right now.
Personal shield losing power.
Oh, ouch.
Fire in the hole! Area clear.
Area not clear. Bugs everywhere. See that little orange circle that when it comes around the enemy? That's the expose. When they talk about the expose all the time and all these abilities, it's that little orange circly thing. When you see the little orange circly thing, do your secondary weapon attack, and that's going to do more damage to the enemy. Let's move. Cool. We're moving right along.
Scans show that we need to jump down this narrow fissure in the rock.
I haven't
Be
died
careful.
yet.
I don't know what's waiting for us at the bottom.
I haven't died yet, so that's a good thing. I'm a tactical character too, so that's even better. Whoa, flying bugs.
Personal shield losing power. Flanking damage detected.
Okay, I'm gonna die. Or not.
Flanking damage detected. Personal shield losing power.
And now I died. That was pretty hairy. So that stupid one up there always causing a problem.
According to our scans, there's a tunnel under us. Give me a moment, and I'll clear a path.
You do that, sir.
Fire in the hole! Watch that first step. I think I can get us across. Cover me!
Flanking damage detected. Personal shield losing power.
That's stuck behind pod thingies. That's weird. Look, it's like stuck behind the textures and everything. Ah. So many of them. Finally, let's move on. Let's get out of here. I want my strike team to hurry up and cool down. I want to use it. Rally cry, everybody. There we go.
Flanking damage detected.
Oh, targeted the wrong thing.
Flanking damage detected. Personal shield losing power. Enemy combatants in close proximity.
Ow, 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 ow. I'm burning to death.
Flanking damage detected.
We won! Yeah, that was fun. Well, now I'm gonna die. I'll let myself die. Okay, there we go. So I can respawn and get out of that mess. Nice!
You killed the spawn mother!
Yes, we did. Yeah, alright. Okay, so that is using our ground abilities, as you can see. Quite useful, quite beneficial. I mean, the powers I'm using here are working well. Obviously, there's so many different things you can do, so it's hard to, you know, figure out what works best. Excuse me. What works best without experimentation. You're just going to have to experiment a lot of experimentation there. Figure out what modules and stuff work out best for your abilities. Let us do space. Time for space, the final frontier. I think I will. I forgot I was going to show you my Klingon that has all the smoke, all the grenade satchel, because it's just really kind of cool. I think I will show you that. But first, let's do a thing. Let's do a thing. I'm going to show you how powerful this ship is. It will kill everything. Quickly.
Jolan Troop, thank you. Secure your effort.
This ship will destroy the world. Very nicely. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually the scatter volley and the cannon volley, cannon, scatter volley, and torpedoes, because we have multiple ships here starting off with. So I'm going to hit that. Hit that. My alpha. Blah blah blah. And look at my temporary hit points. And then we're going to kill everybody.
Target's shields have failed.
Fire on my mark.
4 shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%. Target's shields have failed. Target's shields have failed. Target's shields have failed.
Yeah, I'd say I'm killing him pretty fast.
Four shields failing. Target's shields have failed.
Handgun.
Right shield's failing. Target's shields have failed. Left shield failing. Four shields failing. Target's shields have failed.
So that's what you can do as a tactical character.
Rear shield.
Kill everything. Now, as you can see, as an escort, it takes the damage does quite a bit of damage to the ship. I mean, it's like I'm constantly having to heal and keep healed, but that by being able to pound attack pattern beta and have that temporary hit points come up really helps a lot. So that specialization ability I have found to be extremely useful. Otherwise, you know, just the things I put on here to help keep me alive during battle definitely help, but it can deal a ton of damage if you do the right combinations of things. Obviously, you know, tactical fleet in combination with emergency weapons of power and alpha, it's really going to boost your damage, but then this has a 5-minute cooldown, so you can't use it anymore after that. So then you're just going to be doing your emergency powered weapon and alpha, and that will increase your weapon damage. But yeah, you're always going to want to use the alpha. You can see how that in turns increases my turn rate too. Look, my turn rate just increased by using that, so I can really turn on a dime. I mean, just holy crap, look at that. So, and that's just attack pattern alpha's turn rate. Not even evasive maneuver. I'm turning like in a circle here. when that runs out, it just went slower, or we'll go slower in a second. Anyway, yeah, really good. Escorts for tactical really work well. You can totally be very powerful tactical captain. So that kind of gives you a demonstration of what you can do in space. You're going to take a lot of damage, you may die, you may blow up a lot, but you can definitely deal a lot of damage. That's why you want to get that defense up. If you can get that defense up, it's going to help you last a little longer. Why isn't my shield? Oh, my shields aren't regenerated yet. Okay. See, the shields are low, and the resists are kind of low, and the hull is low. That's just what you're going to have to expect. I've tried to make up for that on this ship. I could do even better, but I've tried to make up for that. I got a Mark 14 neutronium. I got Mark 14 shield capacitor, Mark 14 shields, Elite Fleet adaptive covariant shield that has the adapt on it, and it's got a pretty high shield capacity, but even on an escort, that shield capacity is nothing. Even with this Mark 14 maximum shield capacity, my capacity is still only 12,000, so that's very low shield capacity. But on an escort, you don't really need that, but just be aware that you are going to take more damage, so you've got to fly in a way to, you know, get away from all that damage and do more damage yourself. Okay. Let's switch characters, because I do want to kind of show you that. I forget which character has it. I think it is her, you. No, because it has to be tactical. It's you. She, I believe, has the all grenade satchel kit, which is just kind of really just nuts. Just all nuts. Lots of nuts. Yeah, look at this. Stun grenade 3, plasma grenade 3, smoke grenade 3, photon grenade 3. All the grenades. I mean, this is just a grenade kit. Look at this. These are all my grenades. It's just all grenades. My kit is just all grenades, period. So no matter what I do, I'm just throwing grenades at everything. But that's kind of cool. But that shows you the versatility, too, in a tactical character on the ground. You can have a lot of grenades, you can have a lot of buffy debuffy things, you know, you can kind of change that up on the ground how you want that, so it's kind of cool. Anyway, I just want to show you that because that's super cool. So yeah, that pretty much is going to sum up tactical character on the ground. One thing I haven't emphasized too much, but I'll make a point of right now. Most of these rules apply even if you are a Klingon or a Romulan. Most of the goals are the same. How you want to set them up, how you play the character, it's kind of the same. The kit powers are all going to be just based on the kit powers. The innate abilities, I think, are pretty much the same. Like on the target optics, reroute power to shield. See, all the innate powers that you get, even on the Klingon side, are the same as the Federation. So even though I showed you all this on the Federation side, it all applies to Klingons and Romulans too. It's all the same. All the powers are the same. And the way how you want to play it, it's all kind of the same. So even though I did it all on Fed side, it does apply to Klingon and Romulan side. Now in the future, when the whole Bridge Officer revamp comes down the pike, I will check out all of that and we'll see how that changed things. New powers, new way to train powers, and all that type of stuff. We'll look into that. But for now, this is going to conclude the different career types. I think I am going to make one more video after this. It's going to talk about starships and what's maybe best suited for each career. Because obviously, a purist would think science ship to science career, cruiser to tactical, and cruiser to engineering, and escort to tactical. But there are other combinations that can work, and I just want to talk about that because there's obviously differing opinions on different ships for different careers, and some like to keep it purist, some don't, and that's okay. So different ways there. So I think I'll make a video that just talks about the starships, and we'll look at what's available for each class, so that way you'll kind of know you know, what kind of ships you can fly on each class, which really any ship, but you know, we'll look at that a little bit. It probably won't be too long of a video, just a little something to give you guys an idea, especially for new players, what's in the game as far as ship and career go and how that connects. But as far as the specific career types in space and ground, I think we covered that as good as we can for right now. When a new revamp comes, we will revisit this. So I just want to thank everybody for watching this series. I know each of these videos has been extremely long and lengthy. I appreciate everybody who watches the video. Kudos to you for sitting through and listening and watching a video that long. I mean, seriously. But hopefully this will be helpful to somebody out there. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.